A massive fiscal cliff ahead and fiscal withdrawal coming the fourth quarter. Hey everybody, my name is JJ. You're watching Boom Bear Bust. Let's get into the news here. We're going to start off with a clip out of Bloomberg, and this is David Rosenberg, chief strategist and economist. David Rosenberg, very well known and respected in the financial and investment community. Let's take a listen to what he says. Now, first of all, let's just set this up here because he's kind of saying the opposite of what we've been saying. We've been saying here that they're going to increase. We're talking about the money printers, the money being pushed out into the economy to the people from Uncle Sam, which most of it actually goes to the top 10%. But there's still a lot of money being put out there and giving people extra spending power. And we think it's going to increase. Just in our last video, we talked about the monthly stimulus checks beginning in July for people that have families, parents, basically, and how this is going to ultimately cause more inflation, more prices melting up, more devaluing of your dollar. But David Rosenberg says that that the stimulus is going to get pulled back. Let's take a listen to this clip right here.
Come early autumn.
Well, I think that it's more, where do you want to be invested? In my forecast is basically that we're going to have a fiscal cliff that we're going to fall off of. I don't know why most estimates don't incorporate the fact that so much of this, not just the inflation, but the growth. I mean, everybody's waxing about the 20% increase in incomes in March that we got on Friday. 95% of that wasn't organic income. It was basically, gift from the gods in Washington.
Pause it right there. Gift from the gods in Washington. What have we been talking about here? We've been talking about how incomes are at historic levels because of the money printers, because of the payouts. And that's what he's talking about. But he says it's going to get pulled back. The rug's going to get pulled out towards the end of the year. Take a listen to the rest of this.
5% were income transfers from Uncle Sam. A lot of this rolls off in the second half of the year. So it'll be interesting to see how the economy stands on its own two legs, even with the reopenings, when you consider the massive fiscal withdrawal we're going to see. And so maybe you have an assumption that, well, just the Biden team will continue to roll out fiscal stimulus to perpetuity. I'm not in that camp. So.
All right, so let's pause it right there. He says that there's not going to be fiscal stimulus into perpetuity. So he is saying the rug's going to get pulled out. Let's take a listen to the rest of what he says, and then let's analyze it at the end. Here's the rest of it.
So I think there's going to be tremendous fiscal withdrawal by the fourth quarter. And so I don't think tapering by the Fed is the critical risk. I think it's going to be that earnings and economic estimates going into the end of the year are going to come down. I think we're going to have a bull flattening in the Treasury curve. I know that's anti-consensus. But I think that means that in the equity market, really, who knows? Jonathan Golub might end up being right. Who knows where the stock market's going to go? It's gone much further than I thought it was going to go. So let's just say that if my forecast of a bull flattener and reduced growth estimates come to fruition, where you don't want to be in the cyclical trade anymore. You really want to be in growth and defensive growth. That's the segment of the market that should outperform.
Okay, so you heard what he said at the end there, and he threw it in there. He says basically, who knows? He doesn't know. He said he didn't know the stock market was going to go up as crazy high and fast as it did from the beatdown back to 18,000 that we saw in March and April of 2020. And the market basically went on to more than double since that time, if you look at the Dow Jones and most major indexes. Okay, but let's separate this, and we've got to always keep this at the forefront of our plans here and our visions and our preparations. There's two economies. There's the markets, the financial markets, where they can keep the stock market pumped up to new all-time highs continuously, even though the middle class and the working class is being pummeled, being decimated by rising costs and low wages. And yes, they can make the income look pretty good by sending out more stimulus, and ultimately, in my opinion, it's going to be continuous monthly payments, permanent payments. But just wait, because inflation is going to be a monster. We all know that the working people are going to end up paying the big price for this, and they're going to face the most severe punishment financially. All right, so bottom line is we're going to have to see if he's right. I think that the stimulus is going to increase. He says there's going to be a massive fiscal cliff, or what he calls a fiscal withdrawal. with the payouts being pulled back or pulled out from under the people, and also from what he said, from under the markets. Now he's tying the two together. He's tying the people's economy to earnings and the stock market, because we look at these earnings and we see that with all this extra money people have to spend, it's mostly flowing into the corporations, the publicly traded companies, right? But also something that he didn't mention, look at all the small businesses that got wiped out, right? So many small businesses were wiped out, and that even created a bigger surge in business flowing to the mega corporations, the publicly traded companies. Now, excluding some massive unforeseen event, I do not see the inflation stopping and the money printing and the stimulus stopping, right? Because there's too many eyes now on the money printers. Back in the 2008 financial crisis, not that many people were tuned in to how the money printers actually controlled the economy and also the banks and the lending, but it all goes back to the money printers. Now, so many more people are aware, and information that we talk about here on this channel and a lot of other different types of news being put out there, aside from the big business channels that you see on cable TV networks. That really, when it comes to the big business channels, in my opinion, rarely get to the heart of the issue or the source of the problem, and that's the money machine. All right, friends, but the bottom line is, and I'll say it again, I say it every other episode, maybe every episode, continue to prepare. Be very careful about where you put your money, where your investments are. I believe, and this is what I do, I believe that people need to have some stake in the game, because we're going to see inflation unless something changes. But if something does change, like David Rosenberg put out there, if we see deflation or the massive fiscal stimulus pulled back, then you're going to need to have some cash, because when prices correct, it's going to be wicked and it's going to be vicious, because this bubble is the most insane bubble that everyone's ever seen. All the economists agree that this is the most insane time in the economy and within the financial system that they've ever seen. And all these experts have gotten it wrong again and again and again, because they have no idea of how long this manipulation is going to continue. It's anybody's guess. So be prepared for any scenario. I still say that we're going to continue to see just mind-blowing things happen. Look at the inflation that we've already been witnessing. That's pretty mind-boggling to a lot of people. A lot of people have been calling the peak in the housing bubble since 2016, 17, 18. And what we've been saying here consistently on this channel is no one knows when the top's going to be, because it's all manipulated. You cannot time a manipulated market, right? Unless you're in on the manipulation, right? So if you're in on it, maybe you know somebody that works for the money printers. Maybe you can let us know down in the comments exactly the day when this direction is going to change. We're going to see deflation. You'll let us know. Otherwise, stay prepared, everybody, for all scenarios. All hands on deck. Stay awake, stay prepared. Talk to everybody very, very soon. Come back here for more updates on the economy, financial news, and a daily dose of economic reality. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Stay well, stay safe, stay prepared. Bye for now. Peace.